Mark, for sharing that insight. Please stay with us as we stay on this topic. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has instructed diplomats to refrain from commenting on the fairness or integrity of foreign elections, marking a shift from the U.S.'s previous stance of promoting free and fair elections globally. The July 17th memo limits election-related statements to congratulating winners and focusing on shared foreign policy interests. Diplomats must seek senior approval or any such comments aligning with President Trump's policy of prioritizing national sovereignty and non-interference. The directive reflects the administration's move away from promoting democracy and human rights abroad, though critics argue it signals inconsistency, especially regarding allies with questionable human rights records. Now we go back to our guest discussion with Mark Sutherland, he's geopolitical commentator. Thank you, Mark, for staying with us. Now, how significant is this shift in U.S. foreign policy according to you?
It's very interesting, isn't it? Partly because historically there is big movements within the mega movement, within his base, who do not want any American intervention anymore around the world, where people get very annoyed where they think that America is the policeman of the world. America has many bases around the world, and they're also going back to what happened in Iraq and what happened in Afghanistan, and we have to remember the appalling withdrawal that the Biden administration did nearly 4 years ago, just to say that they'd actually ended a war and without any of the ramifications of that. Discussing the intervention in regard to Iraq and Afghanistan is a three-hour show in itself. The big question that I would have, and I have to say this, is that they do need to tighten up on who they feel that they can then deal with. If they suddenly think that Jelani, in the new Syrian leader, is someone that they feel they can do business with, or they think, right, we'll now get rid of the sanctions against Syria, and then we have to look at what has been happening with the Syrian regime's attack against the Jewish people on the Syrian southern border with Israel. They also need to look at their involvement with Qatar, etc. Certain things, bluntly, are not as straight as they should be. The actual tightening of this, which is to then get to centrally determine, say, we do not want a diplomatic corps shooting from the hip. We need people to be consistent on this. Could also, as you say, has made me some people already mindful of the midterms. It's a huge subject in discussing why certain people just want to be, it's all about America first and look internally, where I do feel very strongly that on many subjects, and especially I think as the Doge revealed in regard to US aid and where their money goes through, it's understandable that the American public, American citizens then feel resentful about some of where their money has gone, which they have not been asked to about whatsoever. We could also say that within the UK and many other countries.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Mark Sutherland, for joining us today and sharing your insight throughout our news. Now we move on to our next news. The U.S. House has passed 3 major cryptocurrency bills. Backed by the Trump administration, lawmakers approved the Clarity Act and Genius Act to regulate digital assets and stablecoins. The Genius Act now heads to President Trump for signature. Trump has embraced crypto, launching his own coin and supporting industry growth. He's also pushing to open the $9 trillion retirement fund market to crypto. The House also passed a bill to block a digital dollar, though Senate approval remains uncertain. Now we move on to our next news. Germany has deported